Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Hey, look, man, please subscribe to the channel. Also, we're almost at 7,000 subscribers. Been a little over a year. You know, I appreciate it. Actually, we're going on, we're over a year and a half now. But, I'm on Twitter too, man, so follow me on Twitter. Shit, if I can get 7,000 followers on there, we'd be good to go. But check this out. Errol Spence, it looks like he just had I guess he really did have cataract surgery. And it looks like Terrence Crawford had a lot to do with Errol Spence having to go in and get this surgery, but the issue with the eye had already persisted. So according to Errol, what it seems like is he wasn't able to see. Look, I'm not a guy who says fighters are making excuses. I'm not a Crawford fan. I'm not a Spence fan. I don't care. I'm a boxing fan. But I know there are people who are going to look at this and say, Errol Spence is making excuses. They're going to attack him. My thing is this. We know when fighters get in the ring, a lot of fighters get in the ring with injuries. And maybe this has something to do with the grueling negotiations. We know they were trying to force Keith Thurman on him. But remember, what Keith Thurman had a lot of injuries. Plus, he got married, and his wife wasn't from America, so, he had to go through that whole process and make sure he's supporting her and making her comfortable as she adjusted to the American lifestyle. But one thing about Keith Thurman, he said he had to get healthy so he can get his get back. Talked about his injuries to his hands and everything. And Errol Spence wasn't really trying to hear all that. And Errol Spence even felt that Keith Thurman was ducking him. And Errol Spence developed resentment towards Keith Thurman. But anyway, you fast forward to where we are now. I mean, Errol Spence, hey, somebody put in the comments, being a champion takes a toll on you. And when Keith Thurman was a champion, look, this man who was banging it out. When Keith Thurman was fighting, Keith Thurman was banging it out with everybody. I'm not just talking about Porter and Danny Garcia. Keith Thurman was fighting and out here tranquilizing people. But he did, right before he stepped away from the sport, he became unified, and he tranquilized Sean Porter and tranquilized Danny Garcia. He got those wins, and he hurt them in those fights. But that being said, Keith Thurman had a lot of injuries, man. But he took his time, and, he just hasn't come back to the sport of boxing. And that's because Keith Thurman is very comfortable. Remember, Al Heyman fighters were making real money back in the day. And remember, this thing, if they say they had a guarantee of $4, $5, $6 million, that's not really what they got paid. They got paid more. You know who spills the beans on all that is Adrian Broner, talking about the type of money they were getting paid. And Adrian Broner talked a little bit too much. And you see where Adrian Broner is now. He's over there chilling with the old dinosaur Don King. But when you look at Errol Spence now, listen, I don't know how anyone here wants to see Errol Spence go and fight Terrence Crawford. The rematch does not need to happen. It doesn't need to happen. I don't care what anyone says. Errol Spence didn't want to fight Keith Thurman when they were pushing Keith Thurman on him, right? They were pushing Keith Thurman on Errol Spence. Supposed to fight him early 2023. Spence said no. And I can't blame Errol Spence. You know what? And I'm going to tell you, these are his words. He said, Keith is a very formidable opponent. Great resume. He said, but at the time, I didn't feel like considering Thurman as an opponent. It was being pushed on me. But, I wanted to fight Terrence Crawford. Anything could have happened. I could have, got injured during the Keith Thurman fight or after the Keith Thurman fight, and that would have prolonged the Terrence Crawford fight. So I was going to wait till, everything was situated for the Terrence Crawford fight to make it happen. And then he said the negotiations with Terrence Crawford were grueling and taking a long time. So, my team wanted to go somewhere else because it was just taking too long, and he had pulled out the fight against Evander Cien. So the bottom line is, Errol Spence, it sounds like he would have fought Keith Thurman, but he had a much bigger fish to fry in Terrence Crawford. Now, look at where he is now. It seems to me that, hey, close the door. My kids, hold on one second. Hey, y'all need to close close the door. My apologies, man. Hey, y'all come in, y'all gotta close that door. Go on, boy. So I got kids. That was my 13-year-old and 9-year-old. Come in the damn house, man. Big ass door on the e-bikes and, you know, half close the door. But anyway, like I was saying, it sounds to me like Errol Spence would fight Keith Thurman. It's just that, you know, Terrence Crawford was the big money fight. But now when you look at Errol Spence, look, he and Keith Thurman can get busy. We know neither one of them seem to be interested in fighting at 147. But who really wants to see an injured? Look, man, I'm trying to be as fair as I possibly can. But this is me, right? This is Hood Champion, but also me as who I really am. Man, Errol Spence, look, the signs are there to not fight. You made your money. He even went out and said, man, he doesn't have to do this. When they start talking like that, that is a sign to get the hell out of Dodge. Hang up the gloves. With everything with the car accidents, because there was a couple of them, to the eye injuries. Now he got this other one now. Cataracts and crap. Terrence Crawford is a beast. The damage he did to his body outside the ring with drinking and partying and smoking and all that crap. The damage he did to his body by killing himself to get down to a weight he probably should have never been at 147. How is anyone out here, how can you be enthused about him in his broken state, just like Keith Thurman was? Keith Thurman was smart enough to be like, man, I ain't going back in that damn ring. Even though I think he wants to, but I think Keith Thurman really knew, like, man, unless it's for some soup, some huge money, I ain't doing it. But how can anyone be enthused about Errol Spence coming back to rematch Terrence Crawford? I mean, what are we talking about here? And I like him, but what I'm saying, like, this is just another reason for him to just scrap the rematch and just go chill out. You got your ranch, you got your kids, you got a woman in your life that seems to be supporting you. You retired your mother and father. My man, you living the life. You've got forever money. You're in the breeze. But I understand when you're making the kind of money these guys are making, and he can continue to make. I'm gonna tell y'all right now. This is a whole nother video I should save this for, but the same way Keith Thurman was broken and Errol Spence held that against him. Right now, you're going to see people holding that against Errol Spence. And people are going to start saying Errol Spence is a duck. You watch. Errol Spence may want to go and fight a Tim Tszyu or other elite fighters. I don't think he is. I think Errol Spence is going to be advised to take a few BC level fighters. And now people are going to start saying that Errol Spence is putting duck sauce on their fried rice. And I mean that. That's what they're going to say. Because Keith Thurman came back, fought Barrios, fought Pacquiao, got some good money for Pacquiao, and then he was like, yo, I'm in the breeze. I really think Errol Spence, if he chooses to continue, because he has gone on record and said, you know, the kind of money he can make in boxing, you know, why would he walk away from it? But at the same time, I think he's going to come out here and you're going to see him go to Gervonta Davis route where he fights C-level fighters and stacks up his dough. You can't, even though some people say, nah, Errol Spence isn't built like that. You're just sitting here speaking negatively about him. No, I'm not, Big Nicholas. Hold your horses and don't take it to the stupid. What I'm saying is, why would somebody advise Errol Spence with all of his injuries that he's had over the years, and he still has today, right? Why in the hell would they advise him to go out here? The rematch with Terrence Crawford, it is what it is, I guess. But after that, to keep fighting killers. What y'all want Errol Spence to dead? You know what I'm saying? Y'all want him to dead? But anyway, Errol Spence returning to the ring is much anticipated. Him and Crawford in the rematch, I think, was much anticipated. But now that this crap surfaces, I don't think it is. I don't care. there really is no need for me at this point, much as I love boxing, to see Errol Spence fight Terrence Crawford, a three-weight world champion, two-time undisputed. It just doesn't. It doesn't make sense to me. Why? You know what I'm saying? Why? What are we doing here? So Crawford better be looking at Canelo. Crawford better be, making his plans to try to get that Canelo fight. Because I really think with like Keith Thurman and those injuries, and then getting married, and his career fizzled out. Errol Spence, with his injuries and just the fact that he's comfortable, was able to retire mom and dad a few years ago, I think Errol Spence's career is just eventually going to fizzle out. And for Terrence Crawford and where he's at, and he just wants a couple big money fights and he's retiring, he's already got one foot out the door. So people, whether you like it or not, the turnover is about to happen. These guys are disappearing. It's like in the movie Life, where you see them all just fading away. Like, that's what's happening here. These guys, it's over. Y'all better find new fighters to get behind. Errol Spence, it's over. His career's done. Terrence Crawford, his career's done. Two more fights, three more fights, maybe. It's over. And getting injured like this and having to go through surgeries like this ain't good. Y'all ever had a surgery? Let me tell you something, man. You see this right shoulder right here? And this bicep tendon I had reattached? I don't know if you can see that scar. I had to get that shit reattached and my whole shoulder, man. The whole thing, jacked up, man. Took like 9-10 months going through rehab. So I go through the crap and it doesn't get better because I developed scar tissue adhesion. Now on this side right here, I got the same issues over here on this shoulder and this bicep from years and years of being active. I refuse to go in for a surgery on this shoulder. But what I'm telling you is, every day I'm in pain. Now this don't have shit to do with the video. Every day I'm in pain. But I got to go through another surgery. But I refuse to because the surgery, it helped, but it didn't. I'm not 100% again. So with these things they're going through, you'll never be 100%. Never. And now you got a fighter coming into the ring who's maybe 75% of what he once was. Competing against guys who had 100%. What you want these guys to do? Go get killed? Y'all keep cool, man. Turnover's happening whether you like it or not. Errol Spence, he's out of there. Terrence Crawford, a couple more fights, he's out of there. Keith Thurman's already seems to be out of there. It is what it is. Y'all better get behind Boot Simmons. He seems to be the next one up. And it is what it is. Y'all keep cool. Errol Spence looks like he's broken, just like he said about Keith Thurman. It's amazing what them championship belts will do to you. Them championship fights will do to a fighter. In the breeze.